My name is Madeline Carter, and I'm 26 years old. 3 days ago, I watched the man I loved turn the worst moment of my life into a punchline. Even now, saying that aloud makes the whole thing feel unreal. My boyfriend, Ethan Blake. He was 24 and made videos for TikTok. He wasn't internationally famous or anything, but he had built a respectable audience of around 300,000 followers. Most of his content was harmless trends, morning routines, product reviews, and occasional couple videos featuring me. I never loved being on camera. Whenever Ethan pointed his phone at me, I became painfully aware of my hands, my voice, the way I smiled. Still, I participated now and then because it made him happy. At least, that was what I told myself. For several weeks, Ethan had been complaining that his engagement was dropping. My views are dying, he said one night, scrolling through analytics while we ate dinner. The algorithm doesn't even show my videos anymore. I suggested that he collaborate with another creator or experiment with a new kind of content. That takes too long, he replied. I need something big. There was a strange intensity in his voice that night. I noticed it, but I didn't understand it. I should have. 3 days ago, I arrived home around 6 in the evening after a brutal day at work. A client had changed the requirements on a project for the 3rd time. My manager had scheduled 2 unnecessary meetings, and I had skipped lunch trying to catch up. All I wanted was to eat something warm, take a shower, and sit beside Ethan without having to think. Instead, I opened the apartment door and saw a ring light glowing in the living room. Ethan was sitting on the couch. His phone was mounted on a tripod across from him. Hey, Maddie, he said brightly. Come, sit with me for a second. I dropped my bag beside the door. What's going on? I just want to film something quick. There was already a red recording light on the phone, though I didn't notice it until later. Ethan patted the cushion beside him. I sat down, too tired to argue. He leaned forward, adjusted the angle, then looked at me. His smile disappeared. We need to talk. Something cold moved through my stomach. Those 4 words have a way of rearranging the air in a room. Okay, I said slowly. About what? Ethan lowered his eyes. I've been seeing someone else. For a moment, I honestly thought I had misunderstood him. What? A woman I met a few months ago. He swallowed and rubbed his palms together as if he were nervous. It's been going on for about 3 months. My ears started ringing. 3 months. I tried to search his face for a sign that this wasn't real. But he looked serious, regretful. Avon, I'm sorry, he continued. I didn't plan for it to happen. She just makes me feel things I haven't felt with you in a long time. The sentence landed with surgical precision. Not only had he betrayed me, but he was telling me I had somehow failed to inspire him enough to remain faithful. Who is she? I whispered. That doesn't matter. It matters to me. He looked toward the camera for half a second. At the time, I thought he was simply avoiding my eyes. I never wanted to hurt you, he said. But I can't keep lying. My chest tightened so badly that I struggled to breathe. Ethan and I had been together for 2 years. I had imagined a future with him. I had even looked at engagement rings online the previous month. Not because I intended to propose, but because we had talked openly about marriage. I thought we were moving towards something permanent. Apparently, he had been building another life behind my back. The tears came before I could stop them. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there, while silent tears rolled down my cheeks, humiliated by how completely he had shattered me. Ethan continued talking. "Maybe we can work through it," he said. "Or maybe it would be better if we—" Then he laughed. At first, I thought the sound had escaped from him because he was nervous, but the laugh grew louder. He leaned forward, grabbed the phone from the tripod, and turned it toward himself. "Oh my God. Maddie, it's a prank." I stared at him. He was laughing so hard that his shoulders shook. "I'm not cheating on you," he said. "You should have seen your face." I couldn't speak. The crying was perfect. He continued. "Still filming. This is going to get so many views." Something inside me went completely still. Seconds earlier, I had believed the man I loved had betrayed me for another woman. I had felt our entire relationship collapse beneath me. And Ethan had been watching, studying my reaction, waiting for the tears. "Come on," he said when I didn't laugh. "Don't look at me like that. Everyone does these videos." I stood. "Where are you going?" I walked toward our bedroom. Ethan followed me, holding the phone in front of him. Seriously. "Maddie, you're mad." I opened the closet and pulled out my suitcase. His laughter faded. "What are you doing?" I began folding clothes. "Maddie, stop. It was a joke." I packed shirts, jeans, underwear, toiletries, my laptop charger, and whatever else I could reach without looking at him. He continued recording. "You're actually leaving over a prank." I said nothing. At first, Ethan sounded amused. Then I'm patient. Then angry. "This is ridiculous. Say something." I kept packing. "You're being dramatic." I zipped the suitcase and lifted it from the bed. For the first time, uncertainty crossed his face. "Fine," he snapped. "Leave. Then, see if I care." I carried the suitcase toward the front door. Behind me, he was still filming. "Wait," he said when my hand touched the doorknob. "You're seriously leaving?" I turned around. The ring light cast a pale circle across his face. His phone remained raised between us like a barrier. "Was any of it real?" I asked. His eyebrows pulled together. "What are you talking about? Our relationship, the things you said to me, the future we talked about." My voice cracked, but I forced myself to finish. "Was any of it real? Or was I just content the entire time?" His expression shifted. "Of course it was real. This was one video. But that was the problem. To him, it was one video. To me, it was the moment I understood that he could watch me break, laugh at the damage, and still believe the camera mattered more than the person standing in front of it." I opened the door. Ethan called my name as I walked down the hallway. But I didn't turn back. I have been staying at my friend Hannah's apartment ever since. She gave me her spare room, ordered takeout, and didn't ask questions until I was ready to speak. Yesterday, curiosity got the better of me. I opened TikTok and found Ethan's video. The caption read, "Telling my girlfriend I cheated. Prank." Her reaction was insane. She forgave me. "Don't worry." The edited clip showed him confessing, me crying. And the moment he revealed the prank, it did not show me leaving. It did not show my suitcase. It did not show the question I asked at the door. To 5 million strangers, I was still his girlfriend. To Ethan, even my decision to walk away was something he could cut from the story. That was when I realized leaving the apartment might not be enough. If I stayed silent, he would decide how the world remembered what happened. And for the first time since the camera started rolling, I knew exactly what I wanted to say. For almost an hour, I stared at the comment box beneath Ethan's video. My fingers hovered over the keyboard while the view count climbed in real time. 1 million, then 1. 2 millions. The comments moved so quickly I could barely read them. Some people called the prank cruel. Others said I was too sensitive. A few wrote that Ethan and I were couple goals because, according to his caption, I had forgiven him. That was the part I couldn't tolerate. He hadn't only filmed my pain, he had rewritten the ending. Hannah sat beside me at her kitchen table, watching the screen over my shoulder. You know, people think you're still together, right? She asked. I know. And they think you forgave him. I know. She folded her arms. So tell them the truth. I looked at her. What if it makes everything worse? Hannah's expression softened. For who? I didn't answer. That was the question I had been avoiding. Ethan had already made everything worse for me. He had humiliated me publicly, edited out my choice to leave, and presented my breakdown as entertainment. The only person protected by my silence was him. So I typed, for everyone asking, I'm the girlfriend in this video. I did not forgive Ethan. I left while he was still filming. We are no longer together. The tears in this video were real. He made me believe he had been cheating on me for 3 months. Watched me break down. And laughed because he thought it would get views. He edited out the part where I packed my things and walked away. This wasn't funny to me. It was cruel. I read it twice. Then I added one final sentence. Please stop calling us couple goals. My thumb hovered over the button. Hannah reached across the table and squeezed my wrist. You don't owe him a fake ending. I posted the comment. For the first 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then someone liked it. Then 20 people. Then hundreds. Within an hour, the comment had more than 10,000 likes. People began replying beneath it, asking whether I had proof, apologizing for laughing, and tagging others who had defended Ethan. By midnight, it had 50,000 likes and was sitting near the top of the comment section. My phone began vibrating nonstop. Old classmates sent me screenshots. Coworkers messaged to say they had seen the video. My cousin called twice. People I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly knew what my face looked like when I believed I had been betrayed. It was a different kind of violation. Even the support felt overwhelming because it reminded me that strangers had watched the most vulnerable moment of my life. Ethan texted me 38 times over the next 2 days. At first, he acted as though nothing serious had happened. The video is doing insane numbers. You should come back so we can film a follow-up. People want to see us reconcile. This could be good for both of us. When I didn't respond, his tone changed. Why are you ignoring me? You're being petty. I already told everyone we're taking a break. Then, after my comment went viral, he called. I watched his name flash across the screen until Hannah said, You don't have to answer. But I did. Not because I missed him, because I wanted to hear whether he was capable of saying he was sorry without an audience. What did you do? He shouted. The moment I picked up, there was no apology, no concern, only panic. I told the truth. Dalatait? No. You're destroying me. Madeline, do you have any idea what people are saying? You posted the video. It was content. It was my life. He exhaled sharply. You're making me look like a monster. I described what happened. You made it sound abusive. You made me believe you had been sleeping with another woman for 3 months so you could film me crying. It was a prank. You keep saying that like the word changes what you did. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then his voice dropped. My sponsorship manager emailed me this morning. Brands are asking questions. People are unfollowing me. Delete the comment and we can talk privately. We tried privately. You kept filming. That's not fair. I almost laughed, not because anything was funny, But because fairness had suddenly become important to him only after the consequences reached his side of the relationship, "I'm posting a response," he said. "I'll tell people you're lying." "You can do that." "I will. But I have the original video." Silence. I could picture his face changing. Before uploading the edited version, Ethan had sent the full recording to me through a shared folder because he claimed he wanted my approval. I had never approved it. He posted it anyway. The original showed everything: the suitcase, his insults, his voice shifting from laughter to anger. And the moment I asked whether our relationship had ever been real, "You wouldn't post that," he said quietly. "Try calling me a liar." "You're threatening me now." "No. I'm telling you I won't let you rewrite what happened." His breathing became uneven. "You're being cruel." That word cut deeper than I expected. Cruel. Coming from the man who had filmed my tears and complained that I was ruining the joke. "You watched me cry," I said. "Then you edited the video to make it look like I stayed." "We're done, Ethan." I ended the call. An hour later, he uploaded an apology video. At least, that was what he called it. He sat in front of the same ring light, wearing a gray sweatshirt, his expression arranged into something solemn. "Hey, everyone," he began. "There's been a lot of drama around my recent prank video. My ex-girlfriend is upset. And I understand that maybe the prank went too far. Maybe." He said he was sorry if anyone felt hurt. He said relationships were complicated. He said creators sometimes crossed boundaries while learning what audiences wanted. He asked people to stop sending hate. He never said my name. He never admitted that he had lied in the caption. He never explained why he edited out my departure. Instead, he described me as upset, as though my reaction were the problem rather than the event that caused it. The comments beneath the apology were brutal. "That isn't an apology. You're only sorry because she exposed the truth. Maybe too far. You made her think you cheated. Stop calling emotional humiliation content." By the end of the next day, my comment had more than 200,000 likes. The original video passed 5 million views. Ethan lost 50,000 followers in 48 hours. His best friend, Marcus, sent me a direct message. "You know he's devastated." Right. His career is falling apart. Was this really necessary? I read the message several times before replying. He devastated me on camera and called it entertainment. Yes. Telling the truth was necessary. Marcus didn't respond. Then Ethan's mother called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message began calmly, but the accusation beneath her words was unmistakable. "Madeline, I know you're hurt, but Ethan is struggling. You need to think about his mental health. Public humiliation can destroy a person. Please delete your comment before this goes any further." I listened to the message twice. Not once did she mention what her son had done to me. That evening, my own mother called after someone sent her the video. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she asked, "Are you safe?" The question broke something open inside me. "Yes." "Are you going back?" "No." "Good." She paused. "I never wanted to interfere in your relationship. But anyone who can laugh while you're crying doesn't deserve another chance to make you cry." I closed my eyes. For the first time in days, I felt certain. Ethan continued texting. "Delete the comment, please. You've made your point. I'm losing everything." But I left it there. The video was still online. My face was still being shared across platforms I had never used. But now, at least, the truth was attached to it. Ethan had wanted 5 million people to watch me break. He simply hadn't expected those same people to see him clearly, and the worst consequences had not even begun. By the beginning of the second week, the story had spread far beyond TikTok. People were reposting screenshots of my comment on Instagram, X, Reddit, Facebook, and YouTube drama channels. Every time I opened my phone, someone had tagged me in another discussion I never wanted to be part of. Ironically, the one person who had desperately wanted to go viral had finally achieved it, just not in the way he imagined. Ethan's follower count continued to fall. 300,000 became 260, then 230, then 200,000. Every new upload was flooded with the same questions. Why did you film your girlfriend crying? Why did you cut out the part where she left? Have you apologized properly? His replies became shorter. Eventually, he stopped replying altogether. 3 days later, Hannah looked up from her laptop. I think you should see this. She turned the screen toward me. An email had been leaked online. One of Ethan's biggest cosmetic sponsors had officially paused their partnership. The reason was only one sentence long. Recent events no longer align with our brand values. I remembered Ethan celebrating that sponsorship months earlier. He had danced around our apartment when he signed it. It'll cover rent for months, he had shouted, lifting me off the floor. Now it was gone. Another company announced they were reviewing their relationship with him. Then another. One partnership after another quietly disappeared. That evening, Ethan called again. I almost ignored it. Something told me to answer. His voice sounded completely different. Not angry. Broken. I lost my biggest sponsor. I stayed silent. It was worth $15,000. I still said nothing. They all think I'm abusive. You uploaded the video. I know. His voice cracked. I know. There was genuine emotion there now. For a second, I wondered if this was finally the remorse I had been waiting to hear. Then he continued, I can't pay next month's rent. There it was. Not I'm sorry I hurt you. Not I can't believe I did that. Money, career, consequences. I'm begging you, he whispered. Please make one video. No. Just tell people I'm not a terrible person. I won't lie. You don't have to lie. Then what exactly do you want me to say? He hesitated. Tell them. Tell them we've talked. We haven't. Tell them you forgive me. I don't. He inhaled sharply. Madeline. I don't forgive what happened. You don't have to mean it. That sentence settled everything. He still didn't understand. Even now, after losing sponsors, followers, and opportunities, he was asking me to perform another scene for an audience, another fake ending, another piece of content. You still think this is something we can script? I said quietly, no. Yes. You do. Silence. Then I added the words I should have said the night I walked out. You stopped treating me like a girlfriend long before I left. He didn't answer. You treated me like footage. The line went dead. The following morning, several of Ethan's friends began commenting on my social media. You're taking this too far. Everybody makes mistakes. You're ruining a young man's future. You should be ashamed. One message caught my attention. He already learned his lesson. Isn't that enough? I stared at it for several minutes. Hey. Everything I had heard from Ethan centered on what he had lost. Sponsors, followers, income, rent. Never once had he described the damage he caused me. Never once had he asked how many nights I spent, wondering whether any happy memory between us had been genuine. I blocked every account. Not because their opinions hurt me, because I was exhausted. I wanted peace. Instead, I became part of an internet debate I had never volunteered for. 2 days later, Ethan uploaded another video. This one looked different. No polished lighting. No upbeat music. No jump cuts. He was crying. Real tears rolled down his face as he talked directly into the camera. He spoke about cancel culture. He said one mistake had destroyed everything he had spent years building. He said he had lost sponsors. Friends had stopped answering his calls. Companies wouldn't work with him. He admitted he had made a bad decision, but even then, he never actually explained the decision. He talked endlessly about the punishment, almost nothing about the wound. He never once described making me believe another woman had replaced me. He never admitted laughing while I cried. He simply called it the prank. The comments were divided. Some viewers felt sympathy, others didn't. One comment quickly rose to the top. Your career wasn't destroyed by one mistake. It was destroyed by showing everyone exactly who you were. Tens of thousands of people liked it. That afternoon, Ethan's mother left another voicemail. This one sounded very different from the first. Gone was the calm tone. Madeline, this has gone far enough. She didn't wait for my response. You've made your point. Ethan can't sleep. He barely eats. He's terrified to leave the house. I closed my eyes. She continued. If you cared about him at all, you'd delete that comment. Still, nothing about me. Nothing about the weeks I spent, questioning every memory. Nothing about the humiliation of discovering millions of strangers had watched me cry. Only Ethan mattered. Her final sentence surprised me. If you don't stop this, we'll have to consider legal action. I almost laughed. Instead, I thanked her for calling and hung up. Later that evening, I phoned my cousin Rebecca. She was an attorney. After listening patiently to everything, she chuckled. So, let me get this straight. He posted the video. Yes. You commented underneath with truthful information. Yes. You have the original recording. Yes. And now they're threatening to sue you. Apparently. Rebecca laughed harder. Madeline, truth is a defense. So they don't have a case. Not unless they plan to sue reality. I smiled for the first time in days. What if they actually try? I'd be more interested in discussing whether you have claims against him for recording and publishing your emotional distress without meaningful consent. I wasn't interested in lawsuits. That had never been my goal. I don't want revenge. I know. Rebecca's voice softened, but don't let anyone convince you that honesty is cruelty. The next morning, Ethan texted again from another number. My landlord needs next month's rent. Please. I might lose the apartment. I stared at the message for a long time. A part of me genuinely felt sorry for him. Not because he deserved rescue, because, once upon a time, I had loved him enough that imagining him scared and desperate still hurt. I replied, You chose to convince me you had another woman. You chose to film my reaction. You chose to upload it. You chose to edit out the truth. I didn't make those choices. You did. His reply came immediately. So, you're just going to let me lose everything? I typed slowly. You were willing to let 5 million people laugh at me. A pause. Then another message appeared. It was just a prank. I looked at those 4 words. After everything, he still believed they explained it. I blocked the new number without replying again. The following weekend, Hannah knocked on my bedroom door holding her phone. You've got to hear this. What now? Ethan started a Patreon. I blinked. For what? He says supporters can help him rebuild after being unfairly canceled. She scrolled through the page. $10 per month. Exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Personal updates. At that moment, he had only 23 paying subscribers. $230 a month. His apartment alone cost $1,400. Hannah Sahil. I don't think this is going to work. Neither did I, for a brief moment. Guilt returned, not because I regretted telling the truth, because watching someone destroy their own future is painful, even when they handed themselves the match. That evening, Hannah asked me something I hadn't expected. Can I ask you honestly? Of course. Do you think you've gone too far? I thought carefully before answering. I never edited evidence. I never lied. I never encouraged people to harass him. I answered one lie with the truth. She nodded slowly. I guess that's the difference. I looked out the apartment window. The city lights shimmered below. If the truth ruins someone's reputation, I said quietly, maybe the reputation was never built on anything real. For the first time since walking out of that apartment, I believed those words completely. But I had no idea the most unexpected conversation of this entire nightmare was still waiting for me. 3 weeks after Ethan uploaded the prank video, the storm finally began to settle. Not because people had forgotten, because there was very little left to say. The original video was still online. It had passed 2 million views. Ironically, the clip Ethan refused to delete had become the permanent reminder of everything he wished had never happened. My comment remained at the top. Hundreds of thousands of people had liked it. Every new viewer saw the truth before they watched the edited version. His follower count eventually stabilized, around 160,000. Nearly half of his audience was gone. The people who remained either believed he deserved another chance, or stayed simply to watch whatever happened next. Neither group brought sponsors back. Over the following week, I heard pieces of his situation through mutual friends. He couldn't afford the apartment anymore. He had packed his belongings and moved back into his parents' house. The same house he had proudly said he would never live in again after becoming financially independent, according to Hannah, whose cousin still occasionally spoke with Ethan's closest friends. The atmosphere there was tense. His father had watched the full, unedited recording. Not just the version uploaded to TikTok, the real one. The long silence after my tears, his laughter, my suitcase, the question at the front door. His father reportedly looked at Ethan and said only one sentence. You taught millions of people how little another person's heart meant to you. After that, he walked away. He barely spoke to Ethan for days. I didn't know whether the story was completely accurate, but somehow, it sounded believable. The sponsorships never returned. Apparently, several smaller brands quietly declined to work with him after searching his name. The internet has a long memory, especially when someone else's pain becomes searchable forever. His emotional cancel culture video eventually disappeared. He deleted it after the comments overwhelmingly accused him of playing the victim. His Patreon lasted less than a month. It never reached enough subscribers to cover even a fraction of his expenses. Eventually, that disappeared too. Life moved on, at least externally. Internally, healing proved slower. Some nights, I still replayed the prank in my head. Not because I missed Ethan, because my brain kept trying to identify the exact second our relationship had changed. Was it when he bought the ring light? When he began checking analytics during dinner? When views became more important than conversations? Or had I simply failed to notice who he had become? Therapy helped answer a question I hadn't expected. My therapist smiled gently one afternoon and said, "Sometimes people don't suddenly become someone else. They simply stop hiding the parts of themselves they've always justified." That sentence stayed with me. I stopped asking when Ethan changed. Instead, I focused on who I wanted to become after leaving. 5 days later, Hannah texted me, "You should probably see this." She attached a link, not to Ethan's main account, a second account. One I barely remembered existed, only a few thousand followers. No sponsorships. No polished branding. No dramatic thumbnails. I almost ignored it. Curiosity won. I pressed play. The man on the screen looked exhausted. There was no professional lighting. No carefully styled hair. No expensive camera setup. He sat at what looked like his childhood bedroom. The walls behind him were plain. His eyes were swollen. He looked directly into the lens. "My name is Ethan Blake." There was a long pause. "I owe Madeline Carter an apology. Not my ex. Not someone. My name." For 3 uninterrupted minutes. He spoke. He admitted he had manipulated my emotions. He admitted he had intentionally destroyed my sense of safety for entertainment. He admitted he laughed because he saw my pain as successful content. Then he said something I never expected to hear. What I did wasn't just a prank. It was emotional abuse. The room around me became completely silent. He continued. "I weaponized trust for views. I violated someone who loved me. I crossed a line I didn't even recognize until I lost everything. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve another chance. I only wanted to say publicly what I should have said privately before any of this happened. I was wrong. No excuse, no blaming algorithms, no discussion of sponsorships, no mention of lost followers, only accountability." When the video ended, I realized I had watched the entire thing without once looking away. I played it again, then a third time, not because I was searching for another lie, because I was trying to decide whether I believed him. For the first time, I did. Not enough to rebuild a relationship. Some bridges are burned too completely. But enough to believe he finally understood what he had actually destroyed. I left one comment. "I appreciate the apology. What happened hurt me deeply. I'm glad you're getting professional help. I genuinely hope you become a better person. But I won't be coming back." Several minutes later, he replied, "Thank you. I don't deserve your kindness. I'm truly sorry." That was the last direct interaction we ever had. Neither of us messaged the other again. A month later, I signed the lease on a small, 1-bedroom apartment. It wasn't as large as the place Ethan and I had shared. The furniture didn't match. The kitchen was tiny. The bedroom window overlooked a parking lot instead of the city skyline. But every single thing inside belonged to me. No ring lights. No tripods. No cameras permanently waiting for the next viral moment. Just peace. Hannah and a few close friends helped me move. When everything was finally unpacked, they surprised me with pizza, cupcakes, and a handmade banner stretched across the living room. "Welcome home." Someone jokingly called it my freedom party. The name was ridiculous. The laughter wasn't. No one recorded anything. No one reached for a phone every 5 minutes. For the first time in months, I laughed without wondering whether it would appear online later. A local news website contacted me, asking if I would do an interview about internet accountability and viral revenge. I politely declined. This was never about revenge. It never had been. People kept asking whether I regretted posting the truth, whether I felt guilty about Ethan losing his career, whether I thought justice had gone too far. My answer never changed. I didn't invent evidence. I didn't manipulate public opinion. I didn't encourage harassment. I simply refused to participate in a lie. The consequences belong to the choices that created them, not to the person who acknowledged they happened. I've gone on a few dates since then. Nothing serious. I'm taking things slowly. Trust isn't something you rebuild overnight, but I'm learning that healthy love feels remarkably quiet. It doesn't require an audience. It doesn't need validation from strangers. It certainly doesn't demand someone else's heartbreak to increase engagement. Sometimes people ask whether I hate Ethan. The honest answer is no. Hatred requires holding on. I've let go. I genuinely hope therapy helps him. I hope he learns who he is when no camera is recording. I hope one day he builds relationships that matter more than numbers on a screen. And I hope he never again confuses another person's vulnerability with entertainment. As for me, I learned something priceless. Your emotions are not content. Your pain is not marketing. Your dignity is never something another person gets to monetize. Walking away that night wasn't the hardest decision I've ever made. Staying gone was, but it was also the best one. Some stories don't end with reconciliation. Some end with accountability. Others end with forgiveness from a distance. Mine ended with something even more valuable: self-respect. And unlike viral fame, that's something no algorithm can ever take away.